Welcome back, everybody, to the summit. Day 4, playoffs. We've got ourselves EG versus Vici Gaming. EG leading 1-0 after a big, impressive game 1. Cool little strat, Superman PA, and well, we'll see if Vici Gaming can bounce back, take game 2 or not. What do they need to change, or is it just a matter of forgetting game 1 and playing their game? Yeah.
So I think that was their first mistake. Aside from that, I think they just need to be less predictable. I know Vici for 5-man strats, very heavy team fight, and Siler doesn't play too many different heroes. The heroes that he does play, he plays well. He plays, Weaver a lot, plays Morphling a lot, Invoker, Anti-Mage, those sort of heroes. Whereas like someone like Arteezy plays a lot of different heroes. So I think, I don't know, it just seemed like Morphling was too easy to counter. They didn't respect the Elder Titan. And we've seen Elder Titan demolish Morphling a fair number of times. So their second ban phase could have used a little bit of work. But mostly it was a draft last game, I say. It's not like they played poorly at all.
Alright, well, let's get ourselves in the draft of game number 2. We'll see if they do ban that treant, see if they do have a backup plan for dealing with EG. We'll hop ourselves in momentarily, see if Vici Gaming can bounce back or not. And it's not ban the treant, it's first pick the treant if you're Vici Gaming. But I feel like EG are like, well, we know how to deal with treant because they play it so much. PPD is like, I feel like going to be like, well, you're kind of playing into our hands in some ways. Like you're forcing Vici Gaming to change how they draft and pick just to like deal with EG.
And first pick Darkseer is very, very good against it. And it's Universe's Darkseer.
Yep. Lich as well teamed up with this, so EG, they love to use this treant to get aggressive, get lots of early kills, and I think EG are like, well, let's just make sure the treant's not effective, doesn't get any kills early on, and they're going to just play like, kind of like a passive laning stage, using the sacrifice to deny XP, pull back waves. I think EG's main objective is just going to be, look, don't give up any kills or let treant get too aggressive and do too much.
It depends on the tree player, though. You'll see trees range from the very, very super passive, only living armor on heroes and stack and pull and heal up towers, to the hyper aggressive ones like PPD paired up with Zai. Obviously that game he didn't have boots first and he was just always in the opponent's jungle, always controlling that top half of the map. So I expect a more passive one out of Vici, and EG, they just don't want to take any risks. They don't want Treant Protector to completely disrupt their early game. But Darkseer is very good versus it. Leech Seed countered by Surge. Ion Shell counters Living Armor. So you have that working for you. Lich, very unusual to see teams pick it in the first phase, but as you said, Sacrifice isn't to be undervalued, and it will always pull the lane back in their favor, and it also disrupts Siler's farm if need be. So Siler's been the big carry factor for Vici. You rarely see Super carry that much. He doesn't really play like a 2. I'd say he plays like a 2.5. And it's a very heavy 1 position for Siler. So
it's almost like full protect 1.
Yes, it's very close to 4 protect 1. Not quite, but super. Like, what did Invoker do last game? He had a lot of EMP tornadoes, but I guess mostly it was just like blink strike that over counter with tether plus arcane boots. So it wasn't that effective, but mostly he's just there for control. He's there very rarely there for damage unless he plays a couple of heroes, which they haven't drafted for him recently. So Vici going for the Enchantress. This was their first pick last game. This time they'll take it a little bit later, but Enchantress was dealt with very, very easy. I felt like Enchantress almost did nothing that game.
Yeah, that's where EG will now be using this the second ban stage and their second pick stage to basically try and plan and strategize how they're going to make sure Enchantress doesn't do much again this game, as well as the Treant Protector. So we'll see if Vici Gaming can have a better Enchantress game here in game number 2. They need it, otherwise they're knocked out. They're 3rd place and they're going home. So for EG, Darkseer, Lich opening, and that's something which I feel is going to throw Vici Gaming off. Like, when you talk about the hero obviously being great against a treant, but more than anything, it's just going to be Vici Gaming like, what now? Do we pick the Invoker? Like, which of these heroes do we pick up, and what's EG actually doing this game? Because this is just such a
they're getting in their heads, though, because they have to ban out the Wisp, and EG doesn't really have anything that synergizes well with Wisp. Usually when you pick a Darkseer, you pick more AoE and team fight heroes. Yeah, and they banned the Riki.
With Wisp ban, they're like, we don't want Riki. Like they did this last game after the Wisp pick, which kind of made sense, but...
And EG, I think, a little bit smarter with their bans, banning out the Weaver. They don't have any disables for him. They don't have to ban out the Morphling, because if they do, then they can just counter it with the Elder Titan pick, but at the same time, Vici could pick it 4th instead of 3rd and ban it out later. At the same time, EG seems to be well equipped to deal with Morphling, since they also run Morphling very, very often. That's the thing about EG. They run a lot wider pool of heroes than most teams, and because they do, they're very familiar with the ones that they run very often, like Treant Protector and Morphling. They run very often, and they know how to deal with it.
And that's where I feel this game, EG, they've still got so many of their like go-to heroes in the pool. You look at Arteezy, he could play his Morphling or Shadow Fiend. The PA's still there. I don't think you want the PA without the Wisp Treant. The PA just nowhere near as strong. So they've got Arteezy's heroes left in the pool. Then you look towards Mason. His Mirana's still there. He plays like a safe lane Tidehunter every now and then. They pick up the Earthshaker for starters. So this is normally PPD on the Earthshaker. They'll have Zai on the Lich, I believe. We'll see what Vici Gaming come up with, because I feel EG just have so many strong Arteezy heroes left and so many strong Mason heroes left that this draft has just kind of played out quite nicely for them.
And they also draft like almost no right click, which is really strong versus Treant Protector and Enchantress. Overgrowth pretty much won't do anything. It'll keep them in place, but it won't keep them from doing their damage. And Enchantress with Untouchable to really not effective. You might like see big Earthshaker enchant items now and then, but that's not the majority of Earthshaker's damage. So I like how they drafted, and also they don't really have BKB heroes as of yet. And still no BKB heroes, but EG also, they kind of saw the semi-push strat coming with banning out the Lone Druid, too.
Yes, that's been something that Vici fell back to every now and then, was that Silo Lone Druid.
But you can't push into DS and ES, so I don't actually know why they wanted to go for more push.
I guess it's like, not even, like Lone Druid's annoying regardless, like when if he gets himself a fast Radiance. Stops Earthshaker, blinks, pushes out lanes.
Oh, no, Lone Druid would be nice. Sorry, Nature's Prophet. Why would they pick Nature's Prophet into this?
Nature's Prophet.
They almost have no damage. Like, if you Overgrowth, what's there to follow up? Impeti, maybe Wrath of Nature, but you're going to get that off anyway. So they need damage to dump into their team fight. And I think EG actually has a way stronger team fight than Vici this game.
The Hexagon says all about the team fight. And Slark going to be the 4th pick for EG. So there's your Mason hero for the safe lane. Dark Pact you can get out of Overgrowth. You can
leap out of Sprout very easily. You can leap into Sprout very easily.
Good for just hunting the Nature's Prophet if you're going to go for that Shadow Blade build. So I think it's a pretty clever pick here for EG. And then they leave this. They just wait till the very end to draft Arteezy's hero. So Vici Gaming get another chance to ban one of his heroes, but at the same time, it also just means that Vici Gaming have no idea what carry they're dealing with. If they need to have Morphling counters. Like, the thing is, if EG want to go Morphling, they can... Oh! Bloodseeker!
Bloodseeker, I think
it's a Sylar Bloodseeker normally.
Well, Vici, they are busting out something
that counter, man.
It's not that great of a slot counter. On paper, it sounds good. Okay, you'll keep him silenced, but most of the time, he'll like usually do his combo beforehand. He'll like Dark Pact plus Pounce before you'll get the silence off, and then after that, he just hits really, really hard while someone is Pounce. And if he gets really, really low, Bloodseeker can see him for no regen.
Zeus ban. Like, Zeus Bloodseeker is actually a kind of cool combo.
It's pretty cool, yeah. A lot of deeps. I don't actually know if Vici runs it though.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I've seen him run Bloodseeker, I think, once before. I don't know if it was Vici. I remember Tong Fu ran this in the qualifiers, but I think Vici Gaming ran one Bloodseeker game.
VG has a lot of mind games though. Giving up the pick, banning random heroes that Vici probably doesn't run.
Yeah.
And Razor last ban. Razor pick. I think they could just pick Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend would be really good for EG.
I kind of agree here. I think this is...
DK is pretty good too.
You are on the dire side, so maybe you want something that can help with Roshan, like a TA. If you're EG, that's probably the other consideration. Is like, if we actually get some advantage or get ourselves in a position where we can take Roshan, we need damage to do it. But Shadow Fiend's not bad for Roche. If you have someone to tank or help tank, which can kind of be your Darkseer / Slark.
10 seconds remaining.
If you want like a really good Roche lineup, that's why you need to pick your Templar Assassin type hero here.
5 seconds
Yeah,
remaining.
TA would be decent. I like SF the most, DK second most, TA is down there.
What about Morphling? Not that great against Bloodseeker, I guess.
They don't need like a heavy late game like that. They need a fighter. I feel they have the late game easily covered.
All right, so we'll see how Bloodseeker works out. 8-4, 67% win rate against Slark. And it's gonna be a Dragon Knight. Not a hero we've seen Arteezy play this tournament. Not a hero we get to see him play very often at all. But a hero I think still quite strong and has been somewhat underpicked this tournament.
Yeah, they needed a tanky hero, one that can just stand there. If he gets ruptured, he can just stand there and not really do anything.
The bristleback for Vici Gaming comes out. This is a hero Vici Gaming have run like more bristleback than any other team in.
It's a what safe? It's a Siler.
I think Siler bristleback.
And then a super Bloodseeker.
Looks that way, but they could mix it up. They could put the bristle mid.
Idea.
They could. Who would you want to put against DK? Like mid, I guess. Does it matter whether it's Bloodseeker or bristleback?
Both of them fare relatively poorly versus DK, I'd say. The thing is, they don't have any way to interrupt TPs either. Like, if Bloodseeker ruptures, they have nothing to stop TPs except for Tree and Ultimate, which is really poor design, I'd say. So already I like EG draft a lot more than Vici's.
I'm curious to see how things go down here as well. You've got the Bloodseeker pick, a Bristleback. Bristleback, I've been the few games he's been picked, I've been really impressed by. Navi ran a really good Bristleback in game 1 against the Ukrainian Navi team, where they just snowballed out of control using the Bristleback pick. But
it's a ROTK Bristle. That's the only person I've seen play Bristle. On
so
Vici.
is this gonna be like a safe lane Prophet?
It could be a.
Who's actually playing the Prophet?
It could be a super Prophet. Anyway,
Siler.
Whoa.
Farming nature's. This is like back when Mushi would sometimes play like safe lane farming Prophet. But EG rotating through the enemy jungle. Treant scouting the way as PPD just goes charging forward. Like, I guess like Bloodseeker doesn't really do much, Enchantress doesn't do much. But if you fight Bristleback level 1, he's a pretty damn good fighter.
Yeah, dealing with Ion Shell, that was a pain in the butt this early, and EG's doing the same thing they did last game, which is trying to bully the Enchantress out, and looks like they actually haven't placed any wards yet. But introducing the lineups on the Radiant side, we have Vici down 0-1 in this best of 3. We have ROTK on the Bristleback. On the Bloodseeker, we have old Super taking it middle. Enchantress will be played by Fenrir, Tree will be played by FY, and on the Nature's Prophet, aka Furion, we have Siler. And on the opposite side, Evil Geniuses,
we have PPD on the Earthshaker, wearing the EG set, of course. Universe on the Darkseer. In the offlane, mid lane's going to be Arteezy playing the Dragon Knight. Zai going to be playing the support Lich. And finally, it is going to be Mason on the Slark in the safe lane farming role. EG ready to go. As Enchantress already with the last hit. Where did Enchantress get the last hit from? Oh, I guess I think he denied, yeah. Okay, he got to deny. Observer would deny. Not bad, not bad. Plus 50 gold. Vici Gaming leading early on, Ben.
Yeah, so it is the Boots first Treant Protector played by FY.
Yeah, where's... Ooh, here comes PPD. Just to be pesky. He's kind of trapped here. He's going to be really careful. He's being pinged. Treant's going to come in with Boots, and PPD may just go down. He could almost get the block off. No, he's not going to get... Oh,
he has a tree. He's okay.
PPD has Boots first. If the Treant catches up, it's potentially all over. And he turned around for a fissure. There's your Leech Seed. PPD with the Boots first. Thought he'd get aggressive here. The Leech Seed doesn't do as much damage as it used to. The Enchantress slow as well. This is going to be close. Prophet even TP's in. They want the first blood. They'll get the first blood. Enchantress with the last hit does open up the bottom lane a bit for the Darkseer, but well worth it to get the first blood.
That Invis rune definitely helped him out there. Yeah. If it were any other rune, I don't think he would have actually gotten that kill.
Haste rune would have been okay.
He would have gotten it way before 1 minute, though. He would have gotten it like the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's actually very, very fortunate for Vici. But at the same time, PPD is playing super aggressively up in the opponent's jungle by himself.
Treant could have been there for the flank, like, without Invis, like, waiting on the high ground hill when Earthshaker ran up, for example. Like, there was other ways that it could have worked out well. Well, that's an interesting stat.
Nature's Trio. So in the mid lane, we will have Bloodseeker versus Arteezy on the Dragon Knight. I say Dragon Knight should have slight edge just because he has a nuke to actually kill the creeps. But if Super goes Quelling Blade, it's going to be pretty difficult. Yep, and there it is.
Okay. Yep. So, top lane, RTK. Getting blocked off by a nice hit from PPD, and he's going to give up the second kill of the game. So, PPD precise and on point with that fissure, and FY does not have living armor yet, still just level 1. Even with a level 1 living armor, I don't know if that would have done enough to actually keep Bristleback alive.
They have Slark, they have the Dark Pact for that too. So I like how EG drafts against a Treant Protector. They'll always draft multiple things with a very high instances of damage. So they have Dark's Ion Shell and Dark Pact. I think they do damage every 0.1 second, so that thing just instantly gets knocked off. And on top of that, I like how EG draft and play around the Earthshaker, generally you'll see teams pick Sand King instead of Earthshaker because Sand King's a little bit less risky because you can always go to jungle and farm up in case things go poorly. But PPD gives a first blood, immediately goes around to another part of the map and immediately gets a kill too. So Earthshaker, pretty high risk pick I'd say because he is just a tendency to not ever get his blink and just keep feeding.
Yeah. And it's pretty important that they, the Lich being not a support you often see in the safe lane, but I think Bristleback one of those heroes you want to deny as much XP from as well as just any farm. Because Bristleback, if he gets a good start, and he can do so even in the offlane against a dual lane or a tri lane, you're suddenly in for a lot of trouble. So I like the fact they're putting a lot of pressure onto ROTK. Like, Bloodseeker's a Bloodseeker. He's not going to carry this game. And Prophet, well, it's also not really a true carry, so I don't think they have to worry as much about Prophet farming. So it's almost the right hero to be trying to shut down if you're EG.
And this is one of the matchups that Universe has played very often. I guess he's played most matchups often on Darkseer, but I think the common ones are like Bat, Lone Druid, and Nature's Prophet and over the span of Darkseer's history.
Okay. Well, he's doing just fine there at the bottom lane. Second highest CS in the game behind the Bloodseeker of all things. FY now in the bottom lane. Oh, sorry, below the top lane in the river. Going to turn around, heal himself up off PPD a little bit. PPD just going to try TP out. Interesting. He could have just ran away, but there was a second leech seed in theory. He had enough magic to charge.
He was out of mana anyways, so he can just go around and go do stuff faster.
Oh, they're looking for Universe can just easy surge.
And easy TP.
Nothing, yeah, but saying nothing to stop his TP. It's still worth it to force him to TP. That's 135 gold. All you have to do is summon some treants, and you want those treants up maybe anyways. Although with the Iron Shell Axie is going to burn him down.
Yeah, it wastes a lot of Enchantress this time too, so most of the time we see Enchantress like completely take over games, it's because they get 2-3 kills in the first 10 minutes as well as a tower, but Vici just hasn't made anything happen with Enchantress in either game.
Yep. RTK does need to be a bit careful here, but Earthshaker has gone towards the bottom river, so that's going to open up this top lane a bit. Don't think Vici Gaming have seen the Earthshaker just yet. Their ward's on the other side of the river, not going to scout him out for the time being. That's the EG ward. Close. There we go! Woo!
Hooray!
I'm sorry, it's early. I'm easily amused. That's a good job. I just, my professionalism.
Dragon Knight also going for an early bracer instead of boots too. Just
FY.
Oh no.
That's a good fissure. Put him on the wrong side. He's going to try and turn and lead seat. Not even going to get it off. That's a Rupture being used. The Nature's Prophet may TP in for this one. TZ is really low, and with the help of the Enchantress, they get 1 kill, possibly more. Who needs your Nature's Prophet? 2 kills for Super. Well, one actually going to do away with the Enchantress, then looking for a third here. PPD turns and fissures. No TP in from the Nature's Prophet, but 2 kills nonetheless there. Nicely played. Good rotation from Fenrir this time on the Enchantress.
Didn't expect him to be there at that time either, and EG very well placed Observer rewards by PPD, setting up that first kill, but yeah, I don't know how Dragon Knight got so low, but it just died really quickly post-Rupture.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Super still low on HP at the mid lane. Gets stunned up. Super? No. Magic Stick, he's okay. Let's say you don't just die to like a solo 1v1 DK there. That would just be disastrous. Slark's going back to base here. He's been kind of zoned out by the Bristleback. Pretty annoying matchup when you don't have the Earthshaker there to cover you as well.
Yeah, and he was also below the threshold for Bloodseeker, so Bloodseeker was just moving around. RT's like, go heal, man. You're making my life hard.
Alright. Well,
Tree's sitting down there, but he's a little bit far away to protect the ROTK. And Mason actually not really that much farm to his name.
Mason's been struggling. Bristleback put a lot of pressure on. Meanwhile, mid lane Artesia, there's a Centaur there, which means he can't TP out. There's TP also on cooldown, so another kill going by Vici Gaming. The Bloodseeker pick working out so far.
2 Ruptures, 2 kills. And especially on an important hero like Artesia. So at this point, EG, they're falling behind, but they can still get kills. They need to do a better job of protecting Artesia though. Maybe start grouping up or get some more farm on Earthshaker. Their supports are a little underleveled, even with a Lich.
RTK is having a really good time at top lane, even after giving up that kill earlier. Uh-oh. Oh, we're back.
Okay.
I don't know. Lost vision for a second there. No need to picnic. As Prophet, bottom lane, almost as farmed as Midas. Universe doing well himself, but it's still Prophet and Bloodseeker, top of the net worth, and there's a smoke rotation. Vici Gaming looking for a kill here on Universe. The Observer gets placed in Universe. I don't think he saw them, even though the smoke did get popped. It is nighttime, so the vision not there, and there's an ensnare into a Centaur stun. If he runs down, could be a dead Darkseer. And now Hasterune spawning bottom lane.
Very nice map awareness from Universe right there.
Well, he goes into the side shot now, but Crisis avoided. Hasterune deny coming up from the high ground there. Some cheeky little play.
Cheeky play indeed. Net worth chart, Bloodseeker getting ridiculously stacked in the middle lane. That Quelling Blade helping out, and certainly those 2 kills. And he's blocked off, but he can just run by PPD.
He could almost just rupture PPD. I'm surprised he doesn't go for that kill. Yeah, there we go. Prophet can ultimate. Yes, he can. Not gonna go. No, he uses his mana somewhere else. He just summoned some Treants.
Yeah, it's a pretty difficult kill unless they have living armor for the Bloodseeker as well as a TP from Sylar. So it's a pretty low cooldown ultimate, only 1 minute.
Yeah, it's not. It's like very little loss there for Super. And they force Darkseer out of the bottom lane. We're gonna see Slack battling it out here with the Bristleback. Bristleback just trying to push him away to bring down this T1 tower. And there's a Prophet ultimate. Mason sees it bouncing and Shadow dances to be safe. RTK, uh-oh, Living Armor is there. The Fissure gonna be thrown out, but on the wrong side. Now the Prophet TP's in as well with Treants. And Vici Gaming can just retreat together and probably be A-okay. Sylar's got his Midas, probably looking to use it here. There we go. So Sylar's doing really well in the Nature's Prophet. Super's doing great mid on the Bloodseeker, and I think your Bristleback is doing happier than you would have hoped for, considering he's up against a Lich who's constantly denying creeps.
But Vici's team fight is actually pretty atrocious. So if EG are really up against it, they can always just 5-man. They had to deal with Chain Frost, Vacuum Wall, Chaos Dunk, and just a lot of stuns coming out from DK. So, I mean, Vici, they're not farmed enough to handle it yet. Maybe once ROTK gets a mech, they can. But at the same time, they're just putting so much pressure on the map with Bristleback and with Bloodseeker that EG can't really group up right now.
Alrighty, well, if Vici Gaming's teamfight isn't that, are they just looking to keep getting pickoffs right now, since their teamfight's lacking?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they'll do. Mason, he's done for in the mid lane. He gets brought down just as he kind of shows up there, and that opens up the T1 tower push potentially for Vici Gaming, so there was some worry after Vici get just crushed in Game 1, and even Game 2, looking at the draft, it looked like they were really reacting to what EG were doing. Like, normally Vici Gaming do not first pick Treant. Any other game in the tournament they have first pick there, they're like first picking the Invoker or something, but this time around it was a slightly different draft. But yeah, I'm going to see Sylar get caught here in the mid lane. Fenrir possibly next on the menu for EG. The Iron Shell damage burning through the Living Armor. That's a pretty straightforward kill there to bring down Fenrir's Enchantress.
Drums recently picked up by Bloodseeker. Really nice Fissure and Vacuum combo by EG there to set up that kill. And how close is Darkseer to his mech? Should be pretty close.
Very close slash has it.
Yeah. So that's a very important pickup. Now EG can really start 5-manning effectively if they want to. They don't have to, though.
Yeah, no mech for Vici yet, but it's coming soon. Looks like maybe about 400 or 500 gold away for ROTK. As he's still top lane. PPD and Slack, they just can't kill him. There's no fighting him. The Buckler just blocks and negates so much of that Slack damage. If they rotate in more heroes, maybe, and Darks is the one they're bringing in. This means that Living Armor can't really be used to protect ROTK. This Pink's coming in, more TPs as well. They really want to bring down ROTK's Bristleback. The Cool Sprays are starting to stack up. Chain Frost being thrown in as well. ROTK's still alive, still throwing Cool Sprays. He's gone Invis as well. Oh my gosh, what a disaster. EG, ROTK still alive with Living Armor, and still, they can't bring him down. Zide trying to TP out, will not do so. Bristleback gets a double kill. ROTK Dota, boys and girls. That Nature's Guys on ROTK, I'm pretty sure came out from Treant there.
What a disaster. They thought they could take a team fight with a mech, but he actually saved Chain Frost until a little bit too late. Well, they didn't think they needed it. They had 4 heroes on him.
I saw Treant go Invis. I'm like, wait, what? Murata? No. How's Treant Invis? And no, how's the Bristleback Invis? And I'm like, oh wait, Treant has Nature's Guys. That was like the most value Nature's Guys I think I've ever seen.
Living Armor plus Bristleback, strong combination. And that's very disheartening if you're EG. They were like slightly behind, but one good team fight would have put them in the lead. But after that one, this is a pretty significant deficit for them.
That was going to be one of the deciding fights to see who's actually ahead, like in a better position right now. Because like you say, if EG win that fight, they're in a good position. If Vici win it, they're in a fantastic position. And
great TP response from Vici too. and you can't underestimate their mobility. Usually you'll have to wait like 3 or 4 seconds for any sort of reaction to come in, but they have Nature's Prophet, who can TP in a fantastic position.
RTK, that's maybe a bit too aggressive there. He gets mech'd up though. His mech arriving. Last fight they didn't have the mech. This time they do, and with it, RTK stays alive. He's below 200 HP. The Lich Frostblast not doing enough. RTK getting earned up. The Iron Shell damage will do the deed, as the Overgrowth comes just a little bit too late perhaps. They get the kill anyways on the Darkseer, but RTK maybe did not need to dive so hard, but it's RTK. He'll do what RTK does.
And Vici is in a fantastic position, not only because they have 3 towers down, I believe, but also because EG can't really push either. They don't have a great pushing lineup. They have a teamfight-centric lineup. They're losing all the team fights, and without teamfight victories and getting kills, they can't push. And if they get any chip damage, Vici can just heal it back up with the Treant Protectors. So we doubted Treant Protectors' effectiveness in the hands of Vici and FY, and the rest of them have been utilizing the hero very well.
You don't doubt FY. It's one of the, like, talking to some of the players, like, and Arteezy, we've had him over here a few times, he's like, FY is just the best player, like, right now. Like, he's one of the best support players.
Yeah, he has a ridiculously good support.
He had so many positive words and just praise to say towards FY, as well as Lamb on DK. Those were the 2 players who had just nothing but praise for, and both support players. So definitely goes to show that how high impact support players can be and how influential they are on match results.
Bloodseeker doing work too. Did not expect it to pan out so well for them. 1-0 and 7, and Ruptures have panned out so many kills for them.
Thinks about the Rupture, raises those hands in the air, and yep, he's going to go for it. Universe has a mech and a TP, but doesn't look like he's going to go for that TP out as the Universe gets brought down. Throws the wall before he goes down. Mason's now showing up with a Shadow Dance. Chain Frost is going to start bouncing. Only the one singular bounce, but they get the Bloodseeker kill. RTK now in a lot of trouble. May have overextended, but now the mech comes out. Maybe we should have saved his buddy there on the Bloodseeker. Good Overgrowth. RTK going to turn and fight. May bring down Mason with one more Quill Spray. He does, and RTK stunned up, has his Bristleback. Turn your back to him. Does do so, and there's another Invis. The Nature's Guy Sentry Ward is available this time. Double buyback from EG, and it looks like they will end up getting the kill on the Bristleback. Finally, there's an answer to the Invis coming out from the Treant Protector. Vacuum going to cancel Silas first TP. Second one, not going to make it in time. EG clean up at the bottom lane. Much needed kills going their way, especially when you use all those buybacks.
Vici got a little bit overconfident with the tree armor and the takiness of Bristleback. They pushed down that hill right above the T2.
It's still look at the net worth change. It's Vici Gaming actually quote unquote winning the fight in gold.
They lose a lot of momentum, and that was a fantastic block by PBD there. He separated the 2 melee heroes from the rest of his team, and they were able to finally focus down one of the heroes without taking too many casualties in return. So Frost Armor, they have a Medallion.
They can rush, it's just going to be slow.
I don't think that Vici knows though.
Yeah, Vici Gaming don't seem to have a clue. Medallion rush on the Lich, helping things out a bit here, but boy, is this struggling. They show PPD mid. This is so smart. They show PPD mid, they show Universe bottom. No way to Vici Gaming, no. Yeah, they intentionally show 2 heroes on the map just to cover the fact they're Roshan. Maybe Vici Gaming start to figure out now, but Roshan already too low to be contested.
Yeah, and they split up the damage very well, so that Bloodseeker has no idea either.
Yes.
Their supports are pretty poor though. Tree will have a Blink Dagger, but Earthshaker I don't think is anywhere close. He had the Roshan gold, but he's probably like 700 right now, and he can smoke, so he's forced to buy all the items. And I mean, Earthshaker without a Blink is pretty necessary. I'd say like post 2025. So
DK just went Blade Mail too.
It's nice versus Bloodseeker.
Yeah.
It's decent versus Bristleback too. Armor, more armor won't hurt.
Okay. So
it's an unusual build though, but what does BKB do? I think that's a go-to build for most Dragonites, especially when they die.
If you're doing well, you get a Shadow Blade, but you're playing from behind, and that's where Shadow Blade's probably not going to do you much.
Yeah, this net worth graph is really ugly for EG though. Top 4 belonging to Vici. Even the Enchantress is more farmed than DK.
Yeah, it's and Treant is above the Slark. That's your safe lane farmer. Who actually had, well, he was up against kind of a dual lane with Treant up there with Bristleback, but your safe lane carry / farmer is having a miserable time right now.
They really need to get towers. Usually you'll see DK able to take a lot of towers down versus Treant Protector this early in the game. Corrosive Breath doing work, but they haven't been in a position to be able to do that. They just get mowed down by Vici.
Well, Vici gonna have another go at this tier 2 bottom tower. I think this time they'll be a bit safer and slow about this one. Not going to go diving past the tower, get split up by a fissure once again, but EG making their way down here. Universe is looking for that initiation, which He's just so well known for getting it. And he actually gets a nice tower deny off against Necrobooks and Treants. That was not an easy deny.
Yeah, no matter how farmed Vici get, it's still going to be difficult breaking high ground against EG, because that's where Universe's Darkseer really shines. When you think all is lost, you'll hit the big vacuum wall, followed by Chaos Dunk, Chain Frost. They have a lot of tools to hold the high ground, but Universe looks like gets ruptured out. Fissure Block will come out, but gets finished off by the impetus from Fenrir.
Tough life.
Tough life indeed.
This Bloodseeker is
so double Midas coming out too from Vici. So not only do they have gold, no, I mean they have one on Ench and one on Sylar. I didn't expect Fenrir to go 1-2.
Yeah, I didn't see the Ench one, but yeah, it looks like he's had this for a bit of time here. He's got 1500 gold, and this is where if this game drags, late game Enchantress pretty powerful. You've got Bristleback, Nature's Prophet. None of these hard carries by any means, but it's a 4-core lineup late game with a Treant Protector. So that means overgrowth on your side as well. So all pretty damn good late game heroes on the Vici Gaming side. Whereas heroes like Lich kind of fall off a little bit as the game drags out. But and Slark, Slark's not bad in the late game if you get really farm, but he's got so little farm that this Slark I feel is not going to have much to say in the late game.
And a hero I hasn't really feel like done that much is Zai on the Lich. Oh buddy, almost gets. They banned a lot of his go-to supports. They banned the Wisp, they banned Enigma in the very first stage, and I mean Lich can't really do too much in the lineup. He can't really do anything versus Bristleback. Frost Armor does minimal amounts. Bloodseeker, he has no defensive abilities versus the Rupture and Silence, so it's not a game for Lich to sign.
There's your BKB completed for the Bloodseeker. Items just starting to accumulate for Vici Gaming.
They need a lot of BKBs if they want to break high ground, but at the same time they need Roshan, and Roshan won't respawn for quite some time.
Yeah, BKBs, I'll have Necro 3 on Nature's Prophet. I think maybe already up even. So yeah, 9k net worth. That's a very farmed Nature's Prophet. And now Teezy's just sitting there with Blade Mail, hits level 11, but he's not going to offer much. He's just like trying to spam as many stuns as he can. Be that kind of annoying initiator with that point blank stun.
EG really needs to stack up and farm right now. Mason's really underfarmed. I don't even know what he has right now, but he needs like a lot more HP and potentially a BKB too if he wants to survive in these team fights. Problem is, like, once he gets below like 40-50% HP, he can't really do anything. Usually you'll see Starks just completely turn around fights with Shadow Dance, but that's not going to happen this game. They have a lot of AoE with the Bristleback. They have Bloodseeker too. Once he gets out of Shadow Dance, so he can't regen at all.
Well, double BKBs get picked up, and you mentioned BKB switch high ground. Well, there's still a tier 2 tower remaining, so they'll work on that first with the Necro 3 from the Prophet. Gonna micro that Necro 3, man. Oh, loses it. Sylar, man. There's Necro 3 feeds. The mana burn being used here, and that's Arteezy just unable to fight or defend. He's got no mana, but his vacuum wall is there with an Earthshaker ultimate! It's only killed off one, make it 2 with Prophet going down. Prophet gonna buy back, the BKBs come now. That'll keep Super as well as ROTK alive. But EG still full HP, very healthy. A bit of a hasty buyback from Nature's Prophet, perhaps. That's the one they've been waiting for. That's the money shot.
What a ridiculously good setup by Universe there. I mean, his Darkseer is just ridiculously good. And they don't even have a blink on Earthshaker, and they still had a 4-man Echo Slam. Such good execution by them. Woo.
And they were thinking, like, we got this Aegis, we can actually maybe take a chance here. Like, DK can easily fight, go in, he's not too worried about himself, and it's still... They killed 2 heroes. The Prophet brought back someone unnecessarily. Prophet's still top of the net worth, even with a buyback.
But still, it's a big momentum swing because that's without Earthshaker Blink, and that's not at the high ground. If Vici have trouble pushing down a T2, then they really have to hesitate going to a T3.
Yeah. We may get to this stage and be thinking, let's farm for the late game if you're Vici Gaming. You're 21 minutes in with all outer towers down, but... Well, actually... They're going to play around the cooldown. So Vacuum Wall is on cooldown for a long time. So they're actually going to go for a high ground push. They say there's no Echo Slam, there's no Vacuum Wall.
You can block off and just delay. So it's a little bit too early. They're not that strong.
As well. Iron Shell's doing some work too. Drags the Treants and Necrobook away. RTK is on the high ground. He actually gets fairly low. Does a lot of damage here. DK even just using stun on the Necrobook. Brings it down, takes some damage, but... That was actually a really good defense from EG, all things considered. They deal with the Necrobooks, they block the base with the Fissure.
It was a nice attempt by Vici, but the Earthshaker Fissure block is way too strong. It just completely stops your push.
Back in the Dota 1 days, that used to be banned, I remember. Yeah. That was back when Earthshaker was like top tier pick for other reasons. Like, you'd be first picking Earthshaker just because he was such a good hero. And doing stuff like that and blocking creep waves was just like, nope, you can't do that.
Yeah, Iceberg usually takes all the cheesy stuff out. Like now, Earthshaker can no longer block and redirect creeps to Ancients. You can't like creep pull to mid lane anymore. So the easy ones are usually fixed, but the Earthshaker blocking the high ground is just such a difficult one to implement. Even if you were, you can't implement it into the game though. I think he's mostly of a big fan of not actually having rules against it, just straight implementing it, like backdoor protection. Like if you want to ban backdoor protection, he can find a way to do it like he has done. But for Earthshaker block, you can't do it without changing the geography or like explicitly having specific areas where you can't block with fissures. So it's a difficult one to code and a touchy subject.
Maybe Valve just think, maybe Icefrog just think it's something that should be allowed anyways. Like it's
maybe
part of the reason you pick Earthshaker, because fissure can block your base and protect it. Like maybe it's just part of it. I'm not trying to say it should be banned. I was just kind of referencing that it used to be banned.
Yeah, it could be banned. I think it's a little bit cheesy, but I mean at the same time, if it's in the game, you should definitely use it. So I mean, how do they push high ground though? They have Necro 3. That was a really great time for them to push. There was no Aegis on EG. It had expired at that point. Oh, Mason gets ruptured, and we'll TP out.
Got him.
Ooh, that was so close. It had to be like last 0.2 seconds, but Mason still could be in the clear. No, never mind.
Shadow Dance keeps him alive. He almost gets it healthy enough. If he gets above half HP, in theory, they lose vision of him, but not going to happen. They bring him down. Gem on the Treant Protector, helping things out there. And
was he silenced as he TP'd? I don't. He could have Shadow Dance TP. I guess he must have been silenced, or else he would have done that. But yeah, I mean, Vici still has the issue of pushing high ground. They are very far ahead in gold right now, and it didn't actually lose their T1 after that disastrous team fight in the mid lane, but the issue still is there. Well, Slark down for 30 seconds. This could be another good one.
Earthshaker, does he have his Blink Dagger yet?
I think he should.
He was like 1800 gold after that last fight, so looks like Vici Gaming gonna have another go at the high ground. They're gonna be careful. Earthshaker Blink is ready and online. Just level 1 Echo Slam.
He needs a smoke.
Oh, Universe is being ruptured. No blink for you, and they pop the BKBs. They want to get Universe. The wall's being used preemptively without a vacuum, and that's a dead Darkseer. Buyback from your Slark, as I think with that, Vici Gaming can back off. They use their BKBs for a Darkseer kill in the Slark buyback, so it's worth it, but it's still, they're not going to break this high ground.
They got half damage on a T3, though. That's really good.
For Vici Gaming, they realize they're going to have to siege this tower 3, 4, 5, maybe even like 6+ times before they actually get Raxes, but they'll do it. Slow and steady wins the race. And
they could easily split push if they wanted to, too. EG doesn't have a great lineup to deal with split pushers.
There is, yeah, and I guess Prophet doesn't want to get jumped by a Blinking Earthshaker or someone like that, but it's unlikely that something like that happens.
Gem picked up by Treant Protector, and
Yasha from Bristleback, so probably a Sanj and Yasha.
Vici really needs an next Roshan though if they want to break high ground. It'll just make things so much easier. They can have ROTK just straight being on the tower, and EG, they don't have a lot of cooldowns that they can unload on them. Slark doesn't want to put himself in harm's way. Earthshaker definitely not going to use Echo Slam on a solo Bristleback with Aegis and BKB. Darkseer not going to use ultimates too, so like they should have been farmed enough that they can just, if they want to do something like that, DK can just focus him down, but DK is still pretty weak. He went for Armlet after the Blade Mail. It's nice damage. BKB, again, doesn't really do that much, so I like how he didn't go for it.
Alright, well, Vici Gaming, you said they need Roshan Aegis before they can try to get high ground again. It looks like they will do so. There's no Wall of Repka up for some time, and that's probably a cooldown that Vici Gaming are keeping close track of. They realize it's one of the few spells which will turn around their push and potentially lose Vici Gaming the game. I don't see Vici Gaming losing this game unless they get hit by Vacuum Wall.
Yeah, it has to be like a 3-man, and it can't hit. But I mean, Vici's really good about popping their BKBs, though. They popped it very, very early on that fight and gave EG no chance to initiate on them.
And it's like you pop it early. Sure, you have to retreat a lot earlier than you'd like to, but you get safe damage on the tower, you get a singular kill, and then you back off. So it's just a safe way of playing. Well, for now, Vici Gaming get the Aegis. They're happy to back off, though. I wonder if they're waiting for any kind of key items here. Is there anything that kind of stands out that they would...
Once they already have Necro 3, that's about it. They don't really need to wait for anything else. Nothing that big is going to change it. We see Sylar perhaps making his way towards a Desolator and ROTK with a Saint Yasha, but that isn't going to be make or break when it comes to high ground.
Maybe working on an Ag Scepter as well for his Enchantress, so... still a bit of ways to go. What's coming out here? So Sanj and Yasha's there. There's a Maelstrom for Sylar, so... Changes his mind as far as... Oh, no, so he's got the Mithril Hammer, so that's going to be a Maelstrom then.
Yeah, I thought he was going for Deso. It's easier for high ground, but Maelstrom gives him more... It's a safer build because you can just farm with it instead of split push. Or push.
Slark getting whatever value items he can. He gets just the Vlads for himself, which is not a bad item by any means, but I feel like it's just like, I've got 2k gold, I've got to buy something, because these high ground pushes could be the last fights we take.
He needs HP, I feel like.
Yeah, like the BKB you mentioned earlier. Do you think BKB's worth it?
It's okay. I think he already went for the drums. I'm hard pressed to find a good HP item for him. Lincoln's
Sanjin Yasha.
Sanjin Yasha's okay. Lincoln's you would normally build versus a Bloodseeker, but not with a Bristleback in the game. Yeah, maybe BKB Lincoln's a full defensive build with drums.
Yeah, well, here comes the next push. Ultimates are online for EG. Gonna try and maybe go early before the BKBs are popped, but right now Vici Game looking in a good position. Universe still not there. He's actually farming the enemy jungle right now. He needs to TP and TP back soon. The tier 3 tower under siege. Universe is back at Fountain, ready to go soon. Vici Gaming.
Well, there goes the Necrobooks, and there's really short. There's relatively short cooldown on the.
They still do good, decent damage to the tower. It's like last time they did 500-600 damage. This time another couple hundred. Bit by bit, they're bringing down this tower.
Did a Rupture come out?
Yeah, I
heard it, but
think
oh, okay.
No, it was on the Slark. Slark's bleeding.
So they lose the tower, but at the same time, it means they have to extend a little bit further to get into the racks, and if they go into it too deep, they might all get trapped into a fissure, and then they have to blow their BKBs, and then Darkseer can just come in. So Vici has to be very, very careful about going for the racks.
So back, getting jump, pops his BKB instantly. This is where Vici Gaming are playing just so cautiously. They worry they may be giving up even a single kill. They'll just pop that BKB and then play around the fact they have no BKB rather than wait to use that BKB and potentially die.
Yeah, they've been playing it smart, and I think a lot of teams would overcommit to this tower right now, but you have to... You're playing with fire when you're going up against a Darkseer and Earthshaker on high ground, especially when both of them have Blink Daggers.
Well, the Aghanim Scepter for Enchantress coming online momentarily, and there's even a completed Mjolnir on your Nature's Prophet. Bloodseeker with lots of gold. All 3 Vici Gaming core heroes, and I think you can even say 4 with the Enchantress, are farmed and looking fantastic here in the late game. So even if this game drags out a bit, even if they can't get racks for 10 minutes or so, I don't think Vici Gaming are going to be that worried.
Yeah, they have backup plan. They have double Midas.
Yeah.
And many heroes that can do damage in the late game.
Well, the DK's got his armlet after his blade mail, and this DK's just not really looking like a late game threat right now. And into the mid lane they go. They go onto the rain tracks without the HP regen. Rain tracks a good target, and Universe gets caught up by the Rupture. The silence is there as well, and Universe without a BKB may just go down. He doesn't get a chance to use his combo here. He does have buyback, and he's going to use it instantly. TZ's used his blade mail as well. It looks like RTK realizes they've got to retreat. He gets a Mjolnir on himself. He's going to do a ton of damage. Cool split. Plus Mjolnir. He gets BKB off as well. TZ's in trouble. Looks like Vici Gaming are bouncing back here in game 2. Blink overgrowth onto 3 here as Universe gets the vacuum off. There's no wall though. He gets silence. The Blink Chaos Dunk not going to do enough damage to even get a single kill. Prophet ends up going down. May even decide to buy back. Looks like he maybe doesn't have the gold there. They've lost 3, 4. And buyback coming from the DK. It's the last fight. It's going to be a dieback from DK. TZ GG's out. And we're going to a Game 3 decider here in the Summit's loser bracket final.
Well,
Vici Gaming. They had a terrible Game 1, but they bounced back and...
Bloodseeker, I think, was the main reason that they got destroyed so hard. Treant Protector, he did some stuff, but it was mostly like 3 ruptures in the mid game, and they just killed DK a couple of times, and DK couldn't get any towers. That's why you pick the hero. You pick him to get early towers, apply pressure, and force them to react to you. But they were trying to scramble back, get their farm on, get any sort of items that they could. They got the mech, but that one fight on top too. Oh my goodness, that one fight that they tried to kill ROTK and he killed 3 of them, and didn't even kill him in the end. That was an utter disaster.
Well, the matchup. EG Vici Gaming proves to be as even as we kind of expected. There's no real
40-40.
40-40, yeah. Game 3, I don't even know who to call. I think it seems to be whoever gets this, finds a strategy that's going to work against their opponent. Whoever has the better early game is the team that wins right now.
If EG get Tree, I think they will win.
What is this?
Picture in picture in picture.
This streamception going on.
Producer,
so if
please. EG get Tree, I think they'll win, and I think the First pick is actually really important.
For game 3, there's another coin toss. So, because game 1, you do a coin toss, decide what it's going to be. Then game 2, you swap. But by the time you get to game 3, teams may value first pick or side slightly differently, and that's where we have another coin toss. I imagine if EG have first pick, Vici Gaming are banning the Treant.
EG definitely wants first pick, I think, because there's a lot of heroes that Vici needs to ban out, and they need to ban out. I'd say probably Bat Rider. They're going to ban
Bat,
Treant Bat, and they don't really want to give Wisp out either. So I think either team actually really wants first pick.
All right. Well, we're going to find out what goes down in Game 3. EG versus Vici Gaming. Game 3 decided here at the Summit Loser Bracket Finals, powered by Twitch, as well as supported by 100 TB. Guys, Game 3 coming up next. Stay tuned.